I will be able to tell you all about that next week here on the channel. I'm very excited for some changes going on in the tech world. So that is what's going on there. And once again, this very short 2-part adventure is brought to you by DM Dave. I don't know if any of you were able to go back into the nether worlds of research and check out DM Dave's website or his Patreon, but he is a very cool writer for Dungeons and Dragons. He does usually work in the 5th edition world, but he's got lots of wonderful homebrewed adventures for you all, and I do hope you go check him out. And our story is brought to you by his work, Duergar at the Snowed Inn. And I threw a little bit of homebrew fanciness on top of that myself. So I hope you all will go check him out. He is also on Instagram at Dungeon Master Dave. He's a very cool gentleman, and I hope you will check out his work and continue to join us. So last week we left our adventurers at the Snowed Inn. Our lovely rogue had just snuck her way into the kitchen and was facing down one Duergar herself, who was arranging several suspicious bottles that may or may not have been ale, as well as at least one cask that may or may not be chowder. So we'll have to see how that goes down for them all tonight. And hopefully our lovely adventurers will be taking down those Duergar and restoring all of the missing food and all of that missing wheat mash ale. After all, nothing quite warms your belly like a good chowder and a good ale in the frozen lands. So, off we go. Tales of Adventure. Alright, weary adventurers, back into the Snowed Inn we go. And in this tavern-style kitchen that once served many hot meals, we do find once again our lovely rogue facing down, yes indeed, that Duergar, as they face each other off across that once very well-placed island that's filled with decay and dust. They both very quickly draw their bows and see if they can handle each other. Well, with the quick luck of the draw, our rogue does place her arrow in a lucky shot, but she doesn't kill off that Duergar. Oh no, not just yet. She certainly does try though, but it's gonna take a couple more shots to bring that Duergar down, because he enlarges himself, pulls out a spear, and tries to fire back. Luckily for our rogue, she's able to duck out of the way and avoid that shot. All of the noise brings our ranger and our cleric into the room, and they're able to back up our rogue before she gets too much damage going on. And so, with a few shots later, yes, that Duergar does fall down, and it is eventually an arrow shot from our rogue that takes him down. Well, looking around, it does appear that he had that extra flask of chowder. As you may remember, last week, a first Duergar was found in the main room of our tavern and inn. He had at least one cask of chowder, but we hadn't yet found any of the wheat mash ale, and we certainly had found the second missing cask of flour chowder. Well, now we have both missing casks of chowder, but are all of these bottles of wheat mash ale? Well, with a little sniff and a little checking it out, it does turn out to be, indeed, the wheat mash ale. Whew, goodness. All 10 bottles are here, and now are soaked both buckets. Goodness gracious, were we lucky. But there's a really nasty smell in here. Gross. Well, looking around, it seems that this nasty smell is coming from the pantry. So they decide to go check it out. Opening up that pantry door, they're overwhelmed with something really horrible. Ugh, what's going on over there? Well, it seems that this pantry is at least 20 degrees colder than the rest of the abandoned building. And that's saying quite a lot. We are in the cold lands after all. They don't call it the Arctic for nothing. You can feel the temperature dropping as you enter this pantry. And inside the storeroom, you see that it's wrapped by shelves, covered in a thin layer of something spreading from the western wall. Now, unfortunately for our heroes, they do the most logical thing. And the most logical thing was to try to burn this spreading grossness crawling all over the walls and try to get it completely off. Cleric casts some fire spells. And, well, if any of you guys know anything about frost mold, it really likes the heat, and that made it spread so much faster. And it tried to crawl all over our adventurers, and it almost overtook them. Well, quite a bit of damage going on over here. It seems that our ranger took quite a hit from that frost mold. But, luckily for him, he did figure out that it was frost mold before they took too much damage. And they figured out how to defeat it. And it is, in fact, vulnerable to cold damage. Seems a bit backwards given its name, but they were able to figure things out in the end. And, luckily enough for them, it was protecting something very useful. A spell scroll. Maybe they'll get to use that later. You never know. Frost mold, luckily taken care of, they head on down the hall. And down the hall, there happens to be something very important. Sleeping off a drunken stupor. Well, I'm not sure what he was drinking, but it certainly wasn't wheat mash ale. Perhaps something a little stronger? Whoa, that's quite a liquor smell after all. There is one more Duergar sentry. A quick slash of the throat in his sleep, and he's taken care of super fast. But looking around, our adventurers see that this bedroom seems to have once belonged to possibly Dagvin Benedictson. Remember him? Our heroes were supposed to check on him, but so far the entire inn has been abandoned. We couldn't figure out where he was or what he was supposed to be doing. Well, we found his bedroom, but other than that, we have no idea where he is or where he might have been going. And this whole room, once again, has a complete air of abandonment. I wonder where he is. There's only mold, cobwebs, and a few local critters. Uh-oh. While messing around with the bed, turns out a full swarm of rats have been taking up residence here. And they're not too happy that our big heroes decided to mess with their nest. So, of course, they're gonna try to rush out and go after our adventurers, who are completely exhausted at this point. After all, they did take a couple levels of exhaustion climbing up to the snowed inn, and they haven't exactly stopped for a rest just yet. And they also didn't bother to keep warm, unless you count trying to burn up all that frost mold. So the rats swarm out of them, and luckily they don't really do too much damage to our heroes, but they do plenty of damage to the room. But in the end, the rats are defeated. Thank goodness. While investigating the room, our heroes do, thank God, find several useful items. And this includes several things that's going to help them with the cold weather. And that includes cold weather gear, as well as several packs and rations. Now, they're not in the best condition, but it will allow them to do a con saving throw that will help them with the few points of exhaustion they took earlier. And, luckily for them, they can all take a short rest. And now they can recover a little bit from all the damage that they took. And while it might not be enough to recover fully, at least they don't have to go into any final big giant fights with all the cuts and bruises and all the bleeding and all the damage that they took earlier. And their cleric can even heal them up a little bit, which is always very nice. They also discovered some very odd things in that rat's nest. Maybe you guys can help them figure it out, because unfortunately, they never did. They found one single earring. Just the one. Not a pair, and they could never figure out why there would just be one in a rat's nest. Any guesses? Why do you think there was only one single gold earring in a rat's nest? There was also a peacock feather in the cold lands, but only just the one. And also a few random scattered ivory needles. There was a leather belt, but not the buckle, just the leather part that goes around your body. They never did find the belt buckle, and they couldn't figure out why. Any thoughts on why there was these random items in a rat's nest? Where do you guys think they came from? Kind of strange. After their bit of a rest, they decided to head upstairs. They did their best to sneak through that old crumbling inn, but there's only so much you can do when the floorboards are creaking. They did their best, but unfortunately, it does seem like they'd alerted everyone upstairs, because when they got up there, they kept hearing random growls. I wonder what the random growls are all about. Interesting. Well, hopefully it wouldn't worry them too much. When they went into the first bedroom, they realized it was going to be one of the most comfortable rooms in the entire hotel. But affected by time and a never-ending winter, the room was mostly destroyed. They saw a desk, a wardrobe, and a footlocker. They also saw a skeleton. It lay peacefully in a simple bed. It was covered by a blanket of snow. Before anyone could react, they were attacked. Unfortunately, several bloodhawks had taken up residence in the room, and upon seeing intruders, they immediately went after anyone who went to the room, and that included our three heroes. So there was no time to check out the skeleton or the snow, wherever that came from. There was only time to defend themselves, and they immediately did so as best they could. Now, fighting off flying monsters isn't exactly a piece of cake, but luckily, several party members had arrows with them, and our Vogan Ranger did their best to shoot down those hawks, while our cleric did their best to keep the hawks away from everyone else. And although they again took a wee bit of damage, luckily they had 3 hawks to add to their body count. And who knows, maybe bloodhawks taste pretty good too. After all, after this major adventure, they are going to be pretty hungry. And after defeating those 3 hawks, they were able to take some time to check out the skeleton. It took them a little bit to figure it out, but it did turn out to be Daphne Benedict's lying up there on the bed. just between you and me, because they never did figure out how he died. You see, Dagfinn Benediktsson kept this sad story just to himself. But after his wife died, he never really recovered emotionally. He had a hard time coping, not only with running the inn, but just with the day-to-day recovery of trying to handle things after a tough loss. We all handle those sorts of things differently, and death is no different. Eventually, he dismissed all of his hard workers, the servers, the kitchen hands, those who might help travelers along their way, and, with a heavy heart, he climbed the stairs to the most cozy bedroom, lay down, went to sleep, and simply never woke up. One might say he died of a broken heart. Our adventurers never quite figured that out. But they did figure out a few other interesting things. And they did find, hanging on a chain around Dagfinn Benediktson's neck, a gold coin. They couldn't figure out why someone would carry around a gold coin with them. But why do you think someone would put a gold coin around their neck? Was it a treasured memento? Perhaps a reminder of happier days? Do you think it could have been the first coin he ever earned working at the Snowed Inn? There was also a silver belt buckle sitting on that lovely locker next to the bed. Could that be relating to the leather belt they found in the rat's nest? Or maybe it was his own belt buckle. Hard to say. There was also a crystal that reflected shadow instead of light. Is it possible that Dagfinn was once a rogue and was sneaking around at night once upon a time? You never know. Sometimes our own little patrons have secrets of their own. Either way, the rogue pocketed it to save for later. It might be of use to her in the future. You never know. Heading down the hall, they had to be extra careful because, well, those strange growls kept increasing. The rogue recognized that it could be a wolf, but other than that, they weren't entirely sure where it was coming from, and they had to be entirely focused because that hallway was very treacherous. You see, a couple of the windows upstairs were broken, and it was letting in the elements, including the snowstorms, and parts of the hallway had frozen over after becoming very, very wet. And when that happens, well, it damaged quite a bit of the floorboards. After some slipping, sliding, crashing, and one moment where they almost fell down to the first floor, they made it down the hallway. It took quite a bit of work, but sadly they weren't very sneaky. And because they weren't very sneaky, I'm afraid our main Duergar weren't at all surprised. And right in front of the big door at the end of the hall, they found a winter's wolf waiting for them. The wolf was named Zook and belonged to the head Duergar named Volker. And she had been tasked with guarding the door where the Duergar were hiding out. She was not amused to see these three adventurers coming down the hall towards them. And she leapt to attack. Now luckily, our ranger was a beastmaster, and he called his own wolf to help defend them. And the two wolves clashed. It was quite the epic battle. There were quite a few moments when we weren't sure if our wolf would be able to make it. Zook had them by the quite a few times around the neck. It was interesting. Now, while they were fighting, I'm afraid the Duergar were alerted. 3 Duergar came out and tried to attack. They used their arrows, they used their spears, and they almost overtook our heroes. It was very close. Our rogue managed to get behind Zook to try to take the Duergar out, but she was easily surrounded by 3 Duergar, who switched their short swords to try to do combat up and close and personal. But luckily for us, our ranger and our rogue are a very good team. Using his own companion, our ranger was able to fire off from a distance while sending his wolf up close as backup. He was able to flank Zook, the Duergar wolf, and using that as an advantage, they were able to maneuver her into a corner. Well, I never like to see animals go down, but in this case, I think we'll make an exemption for the bad guys. Zook did die, and just like that, our heroes started to get an advantage, because it turns out that our animal companion was able to turn and flank and help our rogue just as well. And while she may have been surrounded temporarily, she did have some advantages now. And being able to be as sneaky as she wished, that meant sneak attacks. And lots of sneak attacks on Duergar, because they forgot to enlarge before they jumped into combat. And it's always nice to have a bit of sneak attack and a bit of advantage when you're going after creatures much smaller than you. Before they knew it, they were able to take out 3 Duergar and a wolf with very minimal injuries, which was good for them because Volkar was well prepared and a spellcaster, and he was waiting for them down the hall. Heading into that last room, they could see that Volkar had fortified the furniture inside. He was hiding down behind the wall. They were going to have to be very clever. And that's when you're glad you bring Cleric. Using his clever spellcasting skills, he was able to go after Volkar. Now, the thing about Volkar is, you should always expect the unexpected. Now, he may not have had everything in his arsenal that he wanted, but he could certainly throw a few spells when others weren't expecting it. And sadly for our cleric, he had a potion of cold resistance, and he consumed it right before the battle. So, although our cleric had some amazing spells in there, not all of them hit as expected. Luckily for us, he took up that spell scroll, and it happened to have some amazing fire spells on it, which meant that our last Duergar went down a little bit crispier than he intended. But aside from the spell, at least no one got seriously injured. And they did get some pretty cool weaponry out of it, including some armor they were desperately going to need to get back safely. And our ranger was happy to know he got some unbreakable arrows, which are pretty cool. Now, we never did quite figure out why the Duergar were over at the end. It's not that they couldn't tell us, or wouldn't tell us. It's more that they didn't know themselves. Since our adventurers killed off all the Duergar without interrogating them, they never learned why the Duergar were at the inn. But between you and me, Volkar had been commanded to hide out somewhere until he got additional orders, but those orders never came. So we may never know for sure why the Duergar were ever there. It may be a mystery. Whether or not those orders may come in the future may be a surprise. Maybe something we'll have to make up for ourselves. What do you all think? Why were the Duergar waiting at the Snowed Inn? Was there going to be a raid on a local village? Were they supposed to plan a mission but misunderstood their orders? Maybe we'll never know for sure, but it is kind of fun to guess. Heading back into town with most of the ale and all of the chowder, I'm afraid one of our adventurers decided to sneak a bottle. We do see that our lovely tavern owner, Rainer, was overjoyed to give them the gold that they had earned and all the chowder and ale that they could eat and drink, as promised. However, he was very saddened to hear of the death of his friend. And though they never did learn why the Duergar decided to do what they did, he was at least glad that he didn't have to shutter his doors for winter. He also promised to try to retrieve Dagvin Benedictson's body from the snowed in. It's unclear whether they'll ever be able to reopen that inn, but at least he'll be able to rest with his friends back in Borgstrad. It's the least that they can do for him under the circumstances. Well, that's the end of our tale for now. After all, we don't know where our adventurers are going to go next in the Cold Lands. Perhaps there's lots of places we'd like to go to next. You never know. Alright, we're going to take a short break, and from there, we'll do a little bit of live painting. And perhaps you all can tell me where you'd like to go next week in our adventures. Alright, I'll see you all in a couple of minutes. You guys, how are we all doing tonight? I hope we're doing well. Excuse my coughing intermittently tonight. You're probably going to see me drinking some tea occasionally. I just have a bit of asthma tonight, so we're just going to see how much farther we can go. So far we're doing really good. I haven't had to stop really at all, but I can feel myself kind of losing my voice, so excuse me. So we're just going to kind of see how much farther we can take this, and if we have to stop a little early, it happens. I just wanted to let you guys know. So we are now in the live painting section of our evening. Super exciting. So we're just gonna kind of add in some snow here a little bit. possibly add in a bit of falling snow, seeing how it goes. Kind of like how we did last week. I had a little bit of trouble picking up on camera. I don't know if any of you guys remember that. So if any of you are painters and have had the similar trouble, please offer advice, because I don't know if I've solved that from last week. Fingers crossed. So we're just gonna see how it goes, and if you just notice that it's not working out the way that I hoped, let me know, because sometimes things just need to be fixed on the fly, and that's just how it works. Once again, I'm going to be using the Sennelier paints. Oh, here we go. Because I just kind of like how well that they dry brush. It just works really well. And if it dries evenly for once, not that it never dries evenly, but I just don't really like this paper in the way it tends to take a little longer to dry, even though we're dry brushing. I might go in there back in with the Staedtler pens and just kind of like fine line a couple of things, because we're working so small. And we're just gonna see how it goes tonight. And if my voice dies on us and we have to stop a little early, it is what it is. And as always, tomorrow I will have the finished painting up on Instagram. So if any of you guys follow along on Instagram, that would be awesome. I have that link on the mainstream page. And then of course, if any of you guys love storytelling or art and role-playing games, I hope you'll come join us on Facebook. I am losing my voice. See, here it is. I jinxed it. Because we love going on there and doing stories and art and just, share with us. We would love to see that. And of course, that link's on there as well. I don't know how many of you guys were with us earlier this evening, but I did promise that hopefully by next week we would have a YouTube channel. Fingers crossed. So that's kind of exciting. That's like the plans for next week. So speaking of next week, though, that's the wrong brush. Talking and thinking at the same time is not always easy. Speaking of next week, though, I am very hopeful that I will have a plan of doing kind of like a wintry holiday themed kind of stream. I know not all of us are Christmas people, which is totally fine. No worries there, because personally, Hanukkah. But it will be Hanukkah. A couple days later, we're gonna have Christmas, Kwanzaa, a lot of holidays going on in the next couple of weeks here. So I thought it might be fun to be kind of doing like a holiday themed Tales of Adventure. Personally, I've never run a holiday one-shot or campaign, so it'll be kind of making things up on the fly there with that one. But it might be kind of fun to do something like that. Plus, I'm kind of in the winter mood with the painting, so might as well keep that going for another week or two and just kind of see what happens. You never know. There are worse things. So might as well just have some fun with it, But I need some ideas of what you guys think might be fun to do for like a holiday one-shot. So I do have that suggestion box up on the Twitch channel, so throw some ideas out there. Like, what do you guys want for like a holiday themed, channel thing? Like, give me some ideas. Like, have you ever played a holiday one-shot or campaign before? Like, what was something you thought was fun? Did you really enjoy doing, like, I've heard 12 Days of Christmas is fun as a one-shot? I don't know. Like, do you guys want to do, like, a certain, like, theme? Or, like, I would rather do, like, Santa Claus is a bad, like, Krampus. Like, would that be fun for you all? Like, give me some ideas. Give me some thoughts. Like, what do you all do with your tabletop groups? Like, or do you take the week off? I don't know. Last year I didn't do anything. We did a New Year's. We did a New Year's one. That was fun. But we didn't do a Christmas one. I can't remember why. It wasn't on Christmas last year. Yeah, I don't remember why we didn't do that. And Hanukkah wouldn't count for me because that's a whole week. There's no avoiding it. Anyways, I'm gonna clean up this line here. That got too crazy. Okay, that's better. I think I need more water. It's always annoying to me when I can't get a clean white line of all things. Why would that be? Let's try this brush. Maybe I just need firmer bristles. Anyways, my friends are very quiet tonight. So I'm trying a new music thing. You'll have to tell me, do you like the new music? Yes or no? How do we feel about that? Normally I just kind of mix music live, but I felt like that was too many things happening all at once. Does that make any sense? And I just sort of needed like one thing off my plate. So I'm trying this like new music app that's supposed to like pick a theme for you. I don't know if it was okay. It was okay. It could have been better. I don't know. It's alright. What do you guys think? You'll have to tell me if you liked it or not. Oh, there we go. White is back. Yay. Sometimes you just need to tell it who's boss. Arguing with the paint palette. You know it's the weekend when you're arguing with your paints. Could be worse though. Lots of worse things to be arguing with in the grand scheme of things. Let's face it. I noticed that I did it last week, that I'll use the camera to check how things work. I think it's because this is more lighting than I'm really used to, and so I'll kind of just like set of eyes too if you'd like. Hey Chelsea, don't do that thing there. That would be bad. It's mean. I'll probably still do it anyways. I often do. That one artist that's always just kind of like, YOLO. Nature should be a little bit of chaos. It's not. There might be something going on there. Oh no. I really don't know. I'm gonna make this a little more messy. What's nice about white is you can just kind of like take it in there and be like, let's mess this up a little bit. Like that. That's too clean. Okay, speaking of clean, let's go in and try to put some snow on those trees. I'd really like a finer brush. Let's see if this brush will cooperate now. I'm just too stiff. Do I trust you? I don't know. Do y'all ever sing to your artwork? My mom sings to her plants. I don't know if she's watching. My mom is watching, sorry. Okay. I think we're working now. We're just gonna... Ooh, might have been too much paint. It's okay, we can pull it back up. Back to that thing. There's no mistakes in art, just happy little accidents. It's okay to mess up sometimes, or just doing our thing and we're learning. And what we just learned is that this brush is not having a happy day. So we're gonna switch brushes on the next one. Sometimes we're just not a happy camper, and that's fine. We all have days where we're not happy campers, you know? It's all good. Okay, I think I need more tea. Just throwing brushes, wow. That's totally fine. Okay. Oh, that was crooked. My apologies. Okay, let's see if we can't clean that. Trace a little bit. Doesn't look that white on the. But it's definitely way too white up there. Okay. Just a bit of darks. A bit of black. Let's just see how it goes. Oh yeah, that's what we wanted. Nice. I need more. Okay, I kind of feel bad that you all can't see that as well, but it's gonna look cool. I definitely need more black in that paint though. I'm gonna go over it a little bit. A little more black. A little more black. More black. More black. Almost all black. Almost all black. There we go. There. obsession right now. Have any of you all ever seen snow? I really, really want to see snow. I'm from Southern California where it like never snows. And I really, 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 really want to see snow. And I never have. I know. Sadness. Not that like it never snows. We do have like southern mountains here. But you know, I don't know how much you guys know of like Big Bear and stuff, but like it's not that far away, so it's not like I don't have an excuse. I'm just lazy. But I'm really hoping to see snow. I don't know if any of you guys know about Genghis Khan. It's a convention. Sorry, wow, just lost the word for convention there. It's right in the name. In February out in Aurora, Colorado, and there is supposed to be snow, and I'm so excited. It just snowed this week actually for the first time in Aurora, and so I'm kind of thrilled that there will definitely be snow because that's what's going on right now, and let's kind of lighten that up a little bit because it's a little too dark. Okay. Anyways, so that's what's going on right now with me. Super happy about snow. It's the little things, guys, because like most people are like, oh, but you get to see the beach all the time. Not really though, because like, sure, it's like right there. I see it when I go on the freeway. I guess that counts as seeing the ocean all the time. But during the summer, there's so many tourists. Like you can't get a spot. You wouldn't want to go to the beach, you know, unless you intentionally came to the area to go to the beach. Like that would be a reason to go. Otherwise, like, you know, it's not going to be pleasant for anyone. You know what I mean? There's just you just wouldn't want to go. Let me just leave it at that. It just wouldn't be pleasant for anyone, especially locals. Just go for a couple hours. Like you'd want to come to the beach region and make a day out of it. That's what makes it kind of worth it, you know? Or if you had little ones that were like, it was still exciting for them, and you're gonna like do a beach day. Yeah, that's when you want to like do the beach. Otherwise, it's like, it was fun. Or if you were like really into bodyboarding or surfing. Definitely reasons to still go. Just otherwise, meh. Overdid it with the shadows. Darken up those shadows enough. Sometimes you just kind of brain fart. Happens. Kind of how it goes. I just don't like lines on watercolor. It just doesn't make sense. It shouldn't be lines. Just doing something very realistic. But Impressionism, no lines. Just blend appropriately. Okay. shrubbery. Must do shrubbery. It's a requirement. We're outdoors. Color. Ooh, nope, that's the wrong color green. Sometimes you blend things out and you're like, that's not what I wanted. But okay. I'll take it. We can do better than that. We can always do better than that. Okay, it's a little too dark. Let's blend it up. Oh, no, it's closer. Let's add a little blue. Oh, yeah, that's better. Okay. And we're just going to do a little bit more shrubbery. Not enough more. Ooh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. I like putting layers on this shrubbery, so there's like lighter ones, a little darker ones, and it like all comes out in these fun layers. It's just so interesting. It's like kind of vibrancy to it. Oh no. Just kind of I don't know how I feel about this particular song. So far, some of them are very interesting. Okay. That's dry brush snow color, but because we've done who's texting me? It's because we've done so much white in this particular one. I just don't feel like white snow doesn't actually show up. So I'm gonna have it be kind of like a darker color than I normally would, and then we're just gonna kind of see how it plays out. So it's gonna be kind of more of a grayish snow than normal, which I know, risky. There's like, I don't really have hair in here. It's kind of weird. Anyways, totally random. So we're just gonna kind of see how it goes. I'm gonna start out light, and then if I need to layer it up, I just kind of like that kind of Payne's color. Just like totally random. Darker gray on top of that. We're gonna try this first. Okay, set this here. Okay, I'm probably gonna stop after this because I can feel my voice like completely. I don't know how well you guys can hear me, if you feel like my voice is going or not. But I can definitely like tell that I'm not a happy camper. Okay, I'm gonna just go gentle. Okay, can you guys see snow on this at all? I can, but not as well as I'd like. Okay, pick up a little bit more. Okay. Are you all seeing this? I feel like I can't see this. When in doubt, add more black. That's fine. Layers of snow, right? Let's go darker. I'm gonna go quite a bit darker this time. Yeah, that's better. Snow is often quite dirty. Ugh. I don't know if any of you all have pets and then have to like try to do art in the same space as the pet, and then you're just like, this is fur on my painting. It's like when your brush is shed, but worse, because at least that you can see. The rest you like can't. Sorry, I'm just blending out. That was an unusually large blotch of snow, but it was like the same color as the paintings. You weren't able to see it. It was gonna cause this weird little bubble that nobody needs. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, this can you guys all see on camera? Because this looks much better to me on the painting. This looks like, you know, darker snow falling, starting to get nighttime. And I actually kind of like that we did like the layered colors. So it's gonna kind of pick up this different colored snow on here. I really wish you all could see that. Maybe there's a way for me to like zoom in or something. I just feel like it's not really picking up on camera. Don't worry though, I will get it out for Instagram and then you all will see. For a second I was like, is my neighbor playing trumpet? I thought she played flute. Some music. That's funny. Oh my goodness. Okay. I kind of like it. I want to do a little bit more up top though. Move it this way. There we go. That looks really cool. Alright, you guys. So I'm gonna let this dry. May or may not go over it with a little more snow later before I post this to Instagram, but it is what it is for now. I kind of like how we did the darker snow. That came out really nice. So that's pretty cool. But that's where we're gonna stop for tonight. Again, I do really hope that you will send some suggestions for us in the suggestion box of thoughts for a holiday storyline for next week, because I've never done a holiday one-shot or a story before, and I think it would be kind of fun for us to do that together next week. Just kind of go over, you know, anything you guys think would be fun for something like that. I'll come up with, you know, a different watercolor or a painting, or if you guys think of something would be fun to watch, you know, show me something you would think would be cool to do together as a painting, you know, or a drawing, or oh, I want to see charcoal for Christmas or something, you know, whatever. Show me something you think would be fun. Throw it into the suggestion box. I totally think that would be cool, and I would absolutely love to talk it out. And again, I hope you'll follow along on Instagram or Facebook. And until next time, I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful week. And I will hopefully see you all next Friday at 7 p.m. Central for another tale of adventure, hopefully a holiday one. Until then, have a lovely evening, and don't forget to feed your adventure mimics. Bye, you guys.